On today's show, Batman loses another father. The highway to the danger zone is under construction. And, oh my God, did you hear? We landed on the moon! Movie talk starts right now.
The moon! It's not made of green cheese.
You can't yell right into the mic. Did you see what I did? I backed up. This is a good lesson, all you young broadcasters out there. When you're about to yell, you back up so you can get loud like this. You don't get loud as you get into the mic.
I love my country so much.
It's too early in the morning. Come on.
Very nice. We got a first man trailer. It's the first look. That is the first man that I ever said I love you to. Mark Reilly, that is a man who I may one day say that I like. John Stephen Rocha. Got a lot of good news stories today. A lot of stuff breaking late today. This is why you do the show at 4 p.m., Mark Reilly.
Yep, you sure do. I mean, lots of news breaking all at once. One after the other. Getting those movie talk notes done. That's right. I was doing that today with help from that man over there, John Rocha.
I was just his backup. I'm just drumming in the back while he's lead singing. I got no problem doing that.
Well, whatever.
Well, I'll take the reins from here because we're going to get into that first man show. The Rock also has a new picture that he's doing with the director of Back to the Future. But our first story today involves a dropout, and that would be Alec Baldwin. We reported not long ago, in fact, it was earlier this week, that he was going to be taking on the role of Thomas Wayne in the standalone Joker movie. It's not really in the DCU, but Joaquin Phoenix is playing the Joker. Comedian Mark Maron is also in it. Zazie Beetz is in the film as well, and it's being directed by Todd Phillips. And the role was described as a Trump-like in the 1980s, so well before Trump became president. But it's a billionaire who's got some ego about him, got a casual, sarcastic way about him, perhaps. And then the news came today that Alec Baldwin was very dismissive of his role in the movie, saying, I'm no longer doing that movie. He also mentioned that 25 other actors could play that role easily. They also chalked it up to scheduling conflicts. I don't know what to believe here. I'm reading between the lines and seeing that maybe Alec Baldwin wasn't quite made fully aware that this role was going to be compared to who Donald Trump was in the 1980s. And again, maybe that's me reading too many tea leaves, but he obviously has made a pretty good career of late playing Donald Trump as president on SNL. Maybe he didn't want to continue to go down that path of portraying somebody like that. Or maybe he just didn't care about the role. He could have looked at the role, taken a closer gander at it, and said, this isn't meaty enough for me, because as we speculated on the show a couple days ago, we don't know how big the role of Thomas Wayne is. Is Thomas Wayne going to factor into this? Is it going to be told in flashbacks? Will Batman even show up? But regardless, Alec Baldwin no longer playing Thomas Wayne. John Rocha, what does this do to the role of Thomas Wayne? What does this do to Alec Baldwin? Why do we no longer have a Baldwin in this family?
Yeah, we need to find out, because this was pretty heavily reported that this was happening. And just about everyone else who has been rumored to be part of this movie has kind of officially gone on to the movie. So I wonder what happened here. Was it the attention? Was it the Trump description? Like, what came out that he didn't approve of? And he was like, no. Because initially people were saying the tweet he did was very Trump-esque, because he was like, no, it's not happening. Not happening. You thought, okay, maybe he's doing that. I know I do the worst Trump, but
nailed it.
Yeah, totally. And but then he gave this follow-up interview to USA Today saying 25 other guys could do it. I don't know if he's trolling us. I don't know. I know Thad was very adamant with me off camera. It's not happening. And so I'm like, okay, but to me, it feels like this is still kind of like, he might be playing with us a little bit. He might be coming back. He might still be doing the role. Or if he's, I don't understand this, how we could report it so heavily in multiple places, and then all of a sudden he just dropped out randomly after it was reported. That seems weird.
Well, if you didn't have all the other hubbub around this project, you could believe the rumor of scheduling conflicts, Mark Reilly, because right now Alec Baldwin, he's got 5 projects that either just wrapped or are in post-production. He's got 2 that are currently filming. Then he's got a number of announced things that are in pre-production. So certainly Alec Baldwin could be looking at his slate and saying, which one do I care about least? That one, get it out of here. I'd rather do whatever other picture he decides he wants to work on that may be stepping further away from playing a Trump-like character.
Yeah, I want to go to the original notices that came, I believe it was Variety or THR, one of the very well-trusted sources who say, was he in negotiations, was he in talks, or was he signed on? We're all reporting it that he had joined it, that he was signed on. So maybe it was some of the Trump descriptions that and the feedback and the fans. He is on Twitter. Maybe he looked at it and went, not for me. 25 other people can do this. I'm out. Scheduling issues. Yeah, that could be one hand. On another hand, maybe negotiations did fall through. Maybe it was something that they were talking. No deal was signed. Many trades will report circling the part. in negotiation, in talks. Rumors, not so much with the trades. They won't really cover that. But if he was saying to his agents and managers, like, I'm interested, let's start drawing up some contracts, and then the stuff with the Trump start coming out, maybe some backlash. I don't know. Maybe he starts looking into DC, what this movie is. It sounds like he just didn't want to do it. It really does. It just sounds like he really doesn't do it because that one tweet comes out first, which happened this morning on Collider Live. We were all talking about the news, and then somebody alerted me to this, and then the USA article comes out. So, hey, can 25 other people play it? Yep, they can. We lost Alec Baldwin. I thought he would have been fantastic. TBD on who we see next.
But I don't agree with him. I don't think you cast Alec Baldwin in a role that 25 other people can play. I just don't. Baldwin is a distinct person and character at this size. At this stage. I mean, I loved him in Mission Impossible Fallout. This is where his wheelhouse is now. We remember when he was young, and you have Beetlejuice, you have Hunt for Red October. Those were great. Kind of ingenue, in essence, leading man action roles, great. But what he's gone now is almost a statesman role, right? He's got this kind of power to him in these roles. And so this idea that you cast him as Thomas Wayne, as a businessman who kind of can play both sides. Baldwin has the heel and the face, to use wrestling terms, within him. He can be the greatest good guy, and he can be the really deep, angry, evil guy. We've seen him do all that kind of stuff through his career. So to me, I don't agree that 25 other guys can play this. So there's more to this that we need to find out. I don't think he'd have let it be released that he was in it if he was going to destroy it the next day.
Wait, so 25 people can't play Alec Baldwin, for sure. 25 people could be a right fit for Thomas Wayne.
I disagree.
Come on, you're not going to be losing any sleep over who's going to play Thomas Wayne now that Alec Baldwin dropped out.
I'm saying I disagree with the premise that 25 other people can play it.
I'll be honest with you.
Maybe 10.
25 people could have played Han Solo. They might not have done it the same way as Harrison Ford.
What'd you say?
Because we look at that character in retrospect. We say nobody else can do an impression of Harrison Ford playing Han Solo. There's other ways that you could have taken that character. Maybe it wouldn't have been quite as iconic, but we're not looking to cast an iconic character here. This is Thomas Wayne, who, if anything, is going to be on the periphery of this story. I do not believe that this was ever intended to be a lead role in this film. It's somebody that is going to be of note. He might be on TV screens in the background as much as he's actually in person, for the simple reason that this is clearly the Joker's story. Batman's not even going to be in this. If you cast Thomas Wayne in this movie, that means that you're not casting anybody to play Bruce Wayne in a major role. It's going to be a little kid running around. And so Thomas Wayne, is he going to be around? Of course he is. It's Gotham City, but it's not going to be a central figure like somebody else might be.
That's the big point. We don't know how big this part is. This could also be something that he had a couple lines, maybe shows up on some TVs in the background, has a pivotal scene, and then he's out. And that is we talked about this on Monday. That's the establishment of the world, right? Here's Thomas Wayne. Sooner or later, that's connecting Joker, Batman, all that kind of stuff. But maybe that's it. He comes in, he comes out, and that's it. We don't know.
Can I address this? First of all, let me address the first point. There's only 32 teams in the NFL. Maybe less than 10 are good quarterbacks. So I gotta be damned if you're gonna tell me 25 other people can be great quarterbacks.
Okay,
No,
but you're
it cannot.
telling me that playing Thomas Wayne is as hard as playing quarterback in the NFL?
I'm saying what Baldwin brings to a role, I don't think 25 other people can bring what Baldwin brings to a role. I think it's way less.
Depends on the actor.
What did I just say?
Well, I don't understand this.
There's literally 25 other Baldwin brothers.
Fair.
But I don't get. I mean, like each actor, that might be cast could bring something else.
Yeah, but
I agree with your initial point.
His uniqueness is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's hard
that
to
I can't argue with. Yes,
that's what I'm
Alec Baldwin is a unique actor who, when you cast Alec Baldwin, to all your points when you were describing him, yes, he can play that role. He'd like all the roles that he's done. He can play the statesman right now. He can play a little shady. He can play, the marrying man and marry someone for like 100 times or whatever. So if they wanted Alec Baldwin, if they wrote the script, if Todd Phillips sat down and went, I'm writing this for Alec Baldwin, and then he walks away, then that's a bummer. I get it. But I still think there are really good actors out there that can play this part.
Well, that's fair. Scott Mendelson wrote something out in the Forbes. He was talking. It was a speculative piece about this, and he was saying how he thinks this film is going to be Thomas Wayne cheating on Martha, and with a woman, and having with some woman of ill repute possibly, and having this bastard child, and the bastard child turns out to be Joker, and Batman and the Joker are brothers.
That's a hot take.
This is what he wrote, and he was mad about it. He thought it was ridiculous. He didn't think this would work, but that's what he thinks might be the possible plot of the movie. Maybe Baldwin read something in there that was like, I can't go along with this. I can't. It's not for me. And walked out and stepped out of the situation, or didn't have as much of a part. As you said, Reilly, he might have seen he had way less than he thought, and it was like, nah, I'm out.
All right, so who do you drop in there now to cast? Is the irreplaceable Alec Baldwin?
I didn't say irreplaceable.
Other people, but if you're looking at this businessman being hugely successful,
Yeah.
but a little more philandering than a philanthropist,
Yeah.
who are you casting in this if Alec Baldwin's not in there? Do you grab Billy? Do you grab Steven? Do you grab somebody outside of the family?
Yeah, Mark, list me 25 other people. Go ahead. Go ahead, Reilly. No, I'm joking.
I don't have the brain power right now to list my name in the proper order. Look, there's a ton of actors. I mean, off the top of my head, I don't know.
You know who I could give you right now, but I don't think that the tie would work because he's already been in a Batman trilogy. Is Liam Neeson?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
He
Liam
could obviously
Neeson.
pull off whatever accent he wants to, and that
Right.
would be a very interesting take.
You know who could play Thomas Wayne and do it very well right now? Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton would be fantastic.
Oh wow!
And it
That's
would
a
be so
great
funny.
choice.
It would be so interesting. You can't. I mean, I think the DC purists would be like, how do you do that right now? But you take his the founder,
Yeah.
Ray Kroc, like that kind of businessman kind of shill kind of thing, and then you sprinkle in a little Birdman, and I think you can have a Thomas Wayne there. Michael Douglas, a little bit younger, is kind of, because obviously we were talking Gordon Gekko and Donald Trump, 80s businessman. So those are some roles right there. I mean, yeah, Liam Neeson would be fantastic. I love that.
Does Jeffrey Dean Morgan get a phone call, or
Jeffrey Dean Morgan-
does that just create the kind of continuity confusion
Yes.
that this movie
Yes.
seems to want to avoid altogether?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think you cast Jeffrey Dean Morgan, everybody's going to go, well, tied to the Batman universe because he's in the credits, the opening credits for Batman v Superman.
I would agree with that. We've seen a lot of good. Somebody wrote Bill Clinton as
Bill Clinton.
be a pretty kid. I'm sure he's got experience with a lot of the things that might involve
Hey,
this
Martha,
particular
hold my burger.
We're seeing Jeff Bridges,
Woody
Woody
fantastic.
Harrelson.
Woody
And I'm
Harrelson.
seeing Jay Ryan says, "Move on," and he said it twice. So let's continue with this story for a minute. Because I want
Thank
to
you.
ask you guys. You said that this is like, and I know Rocha, you didn't say this is like an iconic role that like you can't replace. Can you name me the most iconic role that you think nobody else could have ever pulled off in the history of cinema? What do you got?
Jesus, that's a very good question.
Yeah, that's why Jay Ryan wanted to hear.
Hey, Jay, The Godfather. Marlon Brando did with The Godfather at the time of his career, there is no one else on the planet that could have played that role as effectively and powerfully as he did.
Yeah.
And I think that to me is the number one thing. I think Charles Foster Kane, I think what Orson Welles was able to do with Citizen Kane, incredible. And I say Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
You could give me Tom Selleck all day and all night. He won't capture what Harrison Ford caught with Indiana Jones. And I don't think there's 5 other actors at that time that could have played Indiana Jones. I don't think there's 5 actors now that could play Indiana Jones and capture the joy, vulnerability, every man, and underdog yet overdog aspect of Indiana Jones.
Look, that's a great point because Tom Selleck was going to be Indiana Jones, and we get Harrison Ford. Now, 2 different parts here. Thomas Wayne, by all accounts, is going to be a smaller part. What if we get that part and it becomes something? I mean, I don't think it can because of the small nature of this. But that's a good point. People drop out all the time, and you get a new actor in there. I mean, Harrison Ford wasn't even supposed to be Han Solo. He was reading to help out George Lucas, because he was doing some carpentry work in the offices there, and he was also a small part in American Graffiti. So
my point exactly. Any Home Depot employee could have come in there and been just as good of a Han Solo. You guys must be Oscar voters because you're putting comedy to the side. Comedy is the hardest thing to pull up. You show me somebody else that could have been Ace Ventura, somebody else that could have played Sherman Klump / Buddy Love, somebody else that could have been in The Great Dictator. Are you kidding me? Comedy's the hardest, most singular thing to pull up. And I'm not just saying that because I have a show in Atlanta this Friday. Looking forward to seeing you guys there. More on that in a minute. We move on to our next story, and it's a bummer to report this, and I need to take a minute because okay, so you guys know I get very excited about certain movies and certain franchises that have sequels coming out, and you may be apprehensive about Top Gun 2 Maverick, but I'm not. I'm ready for it right now. I feel the need, and the speed is not really fast at all on this movie because it has been delayed a year. That's right. The movie was originally supposed to come out in 2019. It was going to be July 12th. It was going to be right after Mark Ellis's birthday, and now it's pushed back to June 26th, 2020. That is almost an entire year. And Reilly, I feel like Luke Skywalker said it's a whole nother year that we're not going to get off this rock, because I don't want to be on an earth that doesn't have more Top Gun. I'm excited about this movie. Do you see this as being a scheduling issue? Do you see this as being a production issue? Or dare I say, we got all the casting in place. Are we worried about the script? Mark Reilly, assuage my fears.
I can't because I haven't seen something like this cast up. We were reporting. There were numerous actors jumping into this thing because production was gearing up. And then, boom, 2 years where we have to wait for this movie. I'm with you. I'm sad. I saw that news come across Twitter. I was like, what? Wait a minute. This is what's weird to me. We were just casting everything. Everybody was signed on. The cast was coming in, and they were getting ready to film this thing. Were there any stunts already filmed? Is Tom Cruise okay?
I don't think he needs to do stunts unless you're trying to fly the F-18.
Come on, you know he wants to jump on a drone and fly over Afghanistan and just be like, no, this is the way to do it. I feel that need. I don't know. This sounds like production issues. This sounds like script issues. This sounds like actor scheduling. All of the above, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. To push a year, we talk about sometimes these date changes for movie talk notes. And we go, what are you going to talk about when it moves a week? What are you going to talk about when it moves even a month? It's like everything's that's just some kind of moving it around to get the best box office. This is production. This is script. This is something big. This is something big. They're pushing it an entire year. They're either going to... because right now, no production is going to start unless they do production and then wait for post for another year. That doesn't make sense at all.
Well, I do wonder if, because they brought on all these actors, they're fairly recent announcements. Miles Teller is about a month old into this project. The announcement was Glenn Powell, who was vying for the same role Miles Teller had as Goose's kid, also casting this in some role. Is it another year for Val Kilmer to get ready for the role? Is it Tom Cruise? Are we accommodating a schedule right now, Rocha?
Yeah.
Or do you think that we're going to have to really shuffle some things around, because some of these are popular artists right now that have a lot of offers on the table? So when you delay production like this a year, you could be saying we might lose some people because they're not going to be available in 1 year.
Yeah, I need to know what happened here. I really do. You don't. Cruise pumped this thing out, went on his Instagram. That picture we have, that's from his Instagram, saying he feels the need. The casting decisions the casting news rather, were consuming our news shows for the last few weeks. Everyone was getting excited. Kilmer was talking about it. There was all kinds of forward momentum for this movie. Now, all of a sudden, boom, everybody got to stop and get out of the plane. Like, everybody got to evacuate the building. This is ridiculous to me, and I'm a little upset about it, legitimately upset about it, because don't start something if you can't finish it. And don't get me excited if you're not going to finish. Never mind, you're not going to let me finish. So this kind of thing, I'm a little upset about this situation, 1,000%. In fact, I need some ice cream to calm me down from the situation.
If I could have
like that. Some ice cream to come down, come in here, delivered to me specifically.
Jack Hine.
That's right, little founder's favorite from Cold Stone Creamery. Thank you, Jack. I'll give you the tip. I'll leave the tip on your desk. Listen, I feel the need for some ice cream, not just speed. This is frustrating as hell. Look, I wanted to see this thing. I wanted to see this film so bad, even more than you, Ellis. Even more than you, if it's possible. And I can't believe that we have to delay this now. It could be access to the equipment. It could be that they wanted to wait a little bit longer until some new technology came out. Is it about the building situation? Is it about the director? Is it about the script? Did something happen? Like, there's a lot of questions I have here, because it's really rare for a film of this high caliber and this high note to all of a sudden stop. This isn't Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is a film that was moving forward.
I have many questions, and more questions than when I started this segment. Did you also just get divorced? What's with the stress eating during the middle of the day? What's with the Cold Stone delivery? Is that going to be a thing?
Yeah, he got married and then divorced and
listen,
under a day.
Relationships are great, but they take a lot out of you. So I need to stress eat a little bit sometimes. I love my girlfriend, but I got to stress eat sometimes.
Good. We'll put all those healthy carbs from Cold Stone back into your body. Mark, Reilly, you and Rocha both seem very reticent to say that this is just something simple. I mean, this does look pretty big. Are you as upset as Rocha? Was this ever something that was on your radar as far as
Top Gun?
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, Top Gun 2. I was so excited
Need for Speed, son.
when it was rumored. I'm like, what? The Top Gun 2? And then as it started to finally come to fruition, I was like, this is fantastic. I love the idea of exploring the technology where it is now. There's been talk of the drones and our pilots becoming obsolete. These are all the things that I think can really work for a Top Gun sequel that's not trying to revisit something for a cash grab. They by all accounts, we had a great story to explore. But there is something going on behind the scenes to move it a year. Again, there's nothing more to say. I think something will come out. I'm wondering if it is the director. That seems
maybe
to
there was
be,
something. Yeah,
but again, Cruise handpicked him, his Oblivion director. So I don't know. And again, Tom Cruise is always jumping off buildings. Are we sure he is not injured? Well, because they delayed. They had to stop filming. They had to move the schedule around for Mission Impossible 6 because he jumps off the building and breaks his ankle. Again, I don't know, but some news will come out.
But this doesn't work either, does it, Mark? Because he's getting older. And so's Kilmer, who just survived a cancer scare in his throat. So, like, these kinds of things, you're going to see them up there. You're going to be like, I don't know about this.
Did you see the first Top Gun? There were older people that were flying airplanes, and we bought it. Tom Skerritt's flying an airplane. Michael Ironside's flying an airplane.
Yep.
We bought it then. We'll buy it now. This is not a Mission Impossible situation, gentlemen. This is not, we attempted a stunt. Tom Cruise tried to jump from one aircraft carrier to another and hurt himself.
Are we
this
sure?
is something that, it smells like a script issue to me, or it smells like a scheduling conflict between one of the younger actors. That's what I'm worried about. The chat room, on the other hand, is speculating a way that Tom Cruise maybe cast as Hal Jordan in a Green Lantern movie. And so then, maybe, what if that happened? And then Christopher Mark says, Mark looks like a first grader on steroids. I'm taking that as a compliment.
What?
And then Eric Kirby says, Mr. Ellis, between the three guys, who can do the most push-ups? Right now, I just went to the gym, so I do not like my odds.
This is 2018. We don't measure manhood by who can do push-ups. All right? It's about the brain, son.
Ice cream
about the brain.
set.
When you come here, I'll show you.
Oh, were you going to do it now, or
No,
are
I
you going to
can't.
show us your brain power later?
I mean ice cream. I can't do that.
Just don't get an ice cream headache. One other piece of release date information is that A Quiet Place. Remember that movie was really good, came out earlier this year, and now A Quiet Place 2 has been officially greenlit. We already knew that. Now it's got a release date to go with it. That's going to be coming out in theaters May 15th, 2020. Are we ready for A Quiet Place? Is it too soon?
No.
We can wait.
I think it's great.
We are waiting 2 years.
We're waiting 2 years, which gives them plenty of time to work on a script. I think they had an idea. Krasinski went out there. He did this great podcast, which is escaping me, but he basically shared the origin of these things, which I thought was fascinating.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of interesting story places you can go. You can go into the big city. You can make this a prequel. You can see what happens to this family. I don't necessarily think we're going to see Emily Blunt back or Krasinski as the director.
Oh, okay.
Well, obviously Krasinski can't come back, but I think that there's so many possibilities for this. So 2 years, that's fantastic. What I love about this is one of my favorite movies of the year. This is a fantastic horror movie, thriller, all that, and we have 2 years, and I think that's great. I'm excited because when you date it, well, at least if you're not a movie called Top Gun 2,
right?
That you can sit there and go, great, we can expect it in 2 years and look forward to it. And it can take its time to get the script right, get the cast right, depending on what the story is. I would love to see Emily Blunt come back and see what the family is doing after that. And maybe they do have to move and come across new people, and we get new flavor in there and new characters.
Rocha, do you want to see any of the original cast returning, or do you want to see this focus on an entirely different part of the world? Because if you focus on a whole new story during the same time frame, and it's successful, and we buy into it, you have unlimited sequel opportunities.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
It's like a Cloverfield situation.
Sure, I
don't want to say the Cloverfield sequels are great. Cloverfield,
which this was.
Cloverfield,
they were looking at this for this.
They were going to fit this into a Cloverfield universe as well originally, so it would make sense to make that comparison. But also, you look at Final Destination. That's always a whole new bunch of people going through what they're going through. So, sure, would you like to do that? Sure, I think, but I think I would like to have Krasinski Krasinski involved heavily if we're going to do that, because he really he kind of captured lightning in a bottle in this movie. It's incredible. And to bring that vibe back, you've got to be more inventive. Maybe that's why he wants a little more time, wants to put it together, wants to figure it out, wants to find the right cast for it. Maybe Tom Cruise will be available to do it. You know, there's all kinds of things now that you can do with this. But I'm cool with something like this because this is such a unique horror film that I'd rather them take their time rather than rushing out a sequel because that'll tarnish the one before it. And even if it comes out 3 years later, even if it's bad, it won't tarnish the original. The fact that so if they rush it out, it definitely would tarnish. If you wait, you have time for the public to settle down and appreciate the movie and accept the movie and put it in the lexicon where it belongs. And then after that, you can mess it up if you want to mess it up. But I don't mind waiting for this one. It's the Top Gun one that really upsets me.
Well, that's a risk with A Quiet Place, because I think by design that concept is I could see it traveling the globe. There's some great Easter eggs there.
Absolutely.
Because I watched it on home video the other day. If you pause some of the newspaper clippings, it really shows you where these things came from. And to me, that gave me this idea of like, you can go over here into a populated area. It's almost like The Purge too. You can kind of go on this side. You know, the first Purge, like obviously is the first Purge, so you get new characters. But I like that idea. But by that same point, you can make the sequel less fun, less as good as the original. But thinking about it now, talking it out loud, I would love to see Krasinski come back and direct this thing and maybe hand it off, see the family go off and continue their story, and then maybe we meet new people and we continue on.
You know what we've never seen in a franchise is a franchise that goes international. By that I mean shot by, like, say, set in Brazil, shot by Brazilian directors with Brazilian actors using the same premise, and it's connected. One in Italy, one in Israel, one in England, one in Russia, one in Japan, and you have them all connected, and they're all essentially under the same brand. So one person is in control necessarily of the look of it all, but they're all connected and are released in different countries. That could be a way interesting new way to take a franchise.
It would be a quiet place for everybody. You know what I love is that people of a certain age will still say when they watch a movie at home that I watched it on home video.
Oh, when it came out of my mouth, I knew that sounded awful.
I can't let
I was like, you are so old,
Riley. I do the
Riley.
same thing. You know what I say when I'm DVRing something at home? So I'm like, I'm TiVoing it. Then I have to catch myself. And then TiVo kind of came and went, and DVR. Now we say DVR.
No, you should have seen me when I was trying to fix the tracking on my Blu-ray player. I was like, wait, this isn't working. And then it turns out that wasn't a Blu-ray player, it was a hairdryer. So, you know.
As long as you rewound it before you brought it back to the videos.
Be kind, rewind.
No penalty will be incurred. Before we get to our next story, I want to remind you guys, yes, I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be in Atlanta this Friday doing a show, 8 p.m. Relapse Theater. It's during Dragon Con, so I'm very excited to be back in Atlanta. I'm headlining the theater there. It's my first time headlining a show in Atlanta since 14 years is when I did my first open mic in the same city of Atlanta, Georgia. Looking forward to getting back and seeing all your smiling faces. You can grab tickets at markellislive.com right now. Use the promo code Schmoes for a big discount. We also are launching some new shows around these parts, including For Your Consideration. It's going to be coming up here pretty soon because a number of our crew is going to be in attendance at the Toronto International Film Festival. Going to be exciting stuff being there. They're going to catch a lot of the Oscar fare, and then we're going to be talking about all the Oscar contending movies, all the award contending movies that are coming out this fall to keep you all up to date. I also want to remind you guys we have other channels. This is Collider Video. Subscribe right here, obviously. We also have Collider Games, Collider Sports, Collider Quick, and The Wrestling Sheet. And Rocha, you just popped into Christian's show one-on-one. You guys had a good conversation. How many calories did you consume during the talk?
I probably lost more calories. There was a lot of crying. There was, Christian. Really? Yeah, well, we talked about, he recently suffered a loss in his family. We talked about the loss that I suffered in 2008 with my dad. We talked about that, but we talked about my military career. We talked about growing up in Virginia. Trying to figure out how we met each other in Florida State and how we kind of circled each other till we finally got together in this space. So a lot was talked about. A lot of fun was had. A lot of hilarity and hijinks ensued as well. So it was a good conversation. I was very honored that Christian asked me to do it.
Do you guys know each other at Florida State at all? Did you cross paths?
We knew. That's where we first met. We knew each other. We would see each other because I came to college later after having served in the military. So I wasn't like right out of high school with my artsy-fartsy kind of approach to life. I was more of a circumspect guy.
More like a Niedermeyer from Animal.
No, because his own people killed him.
Niedermeyer on it.
Niedermeyer.
Sneaky little S.
But no, Christian was always the guy that was kind of out. he was kind of just a regular dude. He wasn't like caught up in the being like the artist or anything like that. So I found it easier to get along with him. Plus, his East Coast mentality was something I knew from growing up there in DC. So
very good.
Yeah.
Well, you hear tears were shed on a podcast. Just wait till Rocha and I do a podcast together talking about the history of our beloved Washington franchise. Both of our dads raising us into that vein. So that's going to be. It's just going to be one big. It's going to be a 9-hour podcast, and it's going to be brought to you by our friends at Kleenex and Coors Light. Well, a movie that is brought to you by NASA. They're not officially sponsoring it, but it feels that way from the trailer. Is First Man. We got another look at it this morning when the trailer dropped. It's going to be playing at a number of film festivals around the country and around the globe, for that matter. It is positioned as one of the top award contending films of the year. It stars Ryan Gosling as Neil Armstrong, the first man to land on the moon. It's directed by Damien Chazelle, who has worked with Ryan Gosling pretty well, I would say, in recent years. This trailer was awe-inspiring for me watching it for many reasons. The primary one being, once we see what happens and how it looks in outer space, there's been a number of outer space movies that have really impressed me in recent years. You look at your Gravities, you look at your Interstellars, the way that it feels so realistic. And I'm not like on a speed dial basis with Neil deGrasse Tyson, but I wonder how he feels about watching these outer space shots. And some of the first reviews also appeared online with Owen Gleiberman from Variety saying that it is revelatory in its realism, saying it makes Apollo 13 look like a puppet show by comparison. Hopefully not Happy Time Murders, because that gets pretty dirty. Yeah, I love me some Apollo 13. Do you love some of this First Man trailer, Rocha?
I can't tell you the just the feeling I got watching this. That you know, when you watch films for as long as we have, you know, when you see a trailer that gives you the chills, and you get this vibe that like this could be a Best Picture, this could win. This could win. Just from a trailer, you're like, this could win. And so watching this trailer, that's what I felt. It's got the right combination of drama, epicness, and also personal human family drama and the interpersonal relationships, that kind of stuff, the cost of what is going on here. And it looks like they're going to go in depth to explore what Neil Armstrong had to sacrifice in order to do this incredible moment and have his famous quote be forever part of the history of America, this idea of what he did on the moon and what happens there. And then what the loss is. And I think that's the Gus Grissom loss that he's mourning in the trailer, how that affected him and affected his family. And so we have our heroes, but sometimes it's really hard for us to see the truth of the price they paid and the sacrifice they made so that they could do these incredible accomplishments in our country's history. And you see that coming through very clearly in this trailer. And Claire Foy, fantastic. My
I
God.
was going to say Claire Foy. From watching this trailer, we know that Ryan Gosling, every time he's in a movie, he's going to be contending for some sort of nomination. Sure. Claire Foy looks like she is now a front runner to be nominated for every award that's out there. And whether that is lead actress, supporting actress, haven't seen the film, don't know how much of a role she actually has, but it looks like it's a damn important one. This is based on Neil Armstrong's life from 1961 to 1969, based on a novel that was obviously written about him with his input, I believe. Mark Reilly, are you as enthralled with this trailer and the performances and direction as John Rocha?
Yeah, and you guys talk about Claire Foy. That was the character that hooked me the most because of the line, like, are you going to tell your sons that you might not come home?
When she's asking, like, just tell me what the odds are. It's like, oh my God, we're there.
And then you see some of the shots of like Gosling testing, you know, this great shot here. I thought that was a wonderful shot where he's like rockets out and lands and he just gets up and he's covered in soot. It's burning in the background. He's like, whoa, you know, how dangerous it is for space travel at that time. And that he believes in it. And then this wonderful him just looking up at the moon. And just you see the wonder in that and him setting a goal that I'm going to be the first man up there, and then what does that do to the family? And that is where it anchored me. And yes, this is a Best Picture movie. This might already be like, it might be set in stone. It might be fated to be this movie, and Best Actor and Best Actress for Claire Foy. I think this looks phenomenal. Damien Chazelle, it's just, I mean, Whiplash was one of my favorite. It was my favorite movie of that year. La La Land I loved, but this is, I don't think there's going to be any, you know, misreading of the envelopes if that movie comes out to be as good as it looks.
Well, Barry Jenkins has a movie coming out that looks pretty good too.
Oh, I know. So here we go.
Beale Street Could Talk, and they're both going to be at the Toronto Film Festival. So very interesting stuff. It's cool to see Rocha talk about how much he loves seeing this trailer because he didn't think anybody else other than Alec Baldwin could play Neil Armstrong. The fact
25
that Ryan Gosling
people
was able to step in
couldn't play this part.
No, there aren't 25 people. No, but also, you wonder, and this is something that occurred to me as you're talking, Reilly. I wonder if that situation at the Oscars kind of motivated Chazelle. Like, I'm gonna direct the hell out of it. I'm gonna show these people what I can really do. And because this film looks like leveling up in a massive way from something small like Whiplash, something a little bit more grandiose in La La Land in terms of the musical stuff the numbers that he shot. But this is something that is Americana. This is epic, right? This is like the right stuff type of approach.
Right stuff, and Apollo 13. They brought that up. Puppets, come on, Apollo 13.
Yeah, there's no need for Gleiberman to crap on Ron Howard. So that's a good film.
I was like, damn, you're throwing some shade at Apollo 13. But I understand.
You still mad about Solo, Gleiberman? What are you doing?
I'm really wondering about this movie, and I wonder how much Chazelle focuses on the space race that was going on to be the first on the moon between the United States and Russia, and other countries that were starting to get involved in that, because that was a big factor. And this is things that I heard about from my parents, that it was important. John Kennedy said in his speech, and we went on from there. I wonder how much of a America versus the rest of the world slant you're going to get on here, and how people feel about that, or whether he decides I'm going to shy away from that and get more personal into the Neil Armstrong story. Because as you get deep into the Neil Armstrong story, one of the most fascinating things about that man is the focus that he had, where he had to lock in, and it's like a great golfer lining up a putt, where there's all these people staring at you, and there's all this pageantry going on. You're just looking at the line, and you're just focusing on this because that's the mission. So I think that's the way that they're going and making this a more personal story, but also one of the more important events in the history of Earth is getting to the moon for the first time. And look, do I have conspiracy theories about the Oscars? Yes, I think ABC staged that whole thing a couple of years ago. Do I think we landed on the moon? Yes. I made a joke tweet earlier. I believe we landed on the moon. I'm like 85% sure that we landed on the moon.
My gosh.
We're 87% sure, 86% that we landed on the moon. We're going to save some time for your live Twitter questions at the end of this show. So let us know, and tweet us about one of these stories. Let us know what your thoughts are, and if you want to take one of these stories and spin it into your own question that I, as the mediocre host, maybe failed to ask, I think we'd love to hear from you, and we'll take some of those at the end of the show. But one more story to get to, and it's pretty important because it involves the future of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That's right, The Rock is going to be teaming up with Back to the Future director Robert Zemeckis, who's going to direct him in a movie. This is exciting already. The movie is called The King. It's a historical epic about Hawaiian King Kamehameha I.
Nice.
And the film is, like I said, it's going to be directed by Zemeckis, and it set off a bidding war because of the script. Apparently, the script was very sought after. It's from a Braveheart writer, Randall Wallace, and then you got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson attached to it, so every studio is going to want a piece of this. The project landed in the hands of New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers. This is from a Deadline report, and it's adding another block to what can only be considered the giant Lego structure that is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's future career in Hollywood. Where does this project announcement stack up against the already announced projects that he has coming up, Mark Reilly?
This one is my favorite of all of it. What else is he doing though? I mean, I've lost track.
I'll pull up the IMDb.
Thank you.
I'll give you some
Jungle
notice
Cruise.
right now, just from memory doing the show. You got your Red Notice coming out. Him and Gal Gadot.
Right, Red Notice.
It's a thieving movie going all across continents. You have Hobbs and Shaw, which is the Fast and Furious spin-off. We were talking yesterday about, we have Big Trouble in Little China.
Big Trouble in Little China. The
Jumanji
Black
2.
Adam. Jumanji 2.
Jungle Cruise. Which he's working on now.
Yeah, him and Emily Blunt.
Lord.
Him and Emily Blunt.
We were talking a little bit earlier on Collider Live about how much is too much for like someone like The Rock. That we talked about Baywatch. We talked about Skyscraper that didn't do that well. So you wonder about, is he too overexposed? Like, can he now make it like a 3-quadrant thing where it's like, he has a movie in March, summer, and November. He just is always in our face. This is the movie that gets me the most excited because of Randall Wallace, because that is his forte. Braveheart being one of my favorite movies all time. That movie is epic. If you put it in that kind of, lens and look through it, Robert Zemeckis, who is no stranger to historical epics, in that, maybe I know Forrest Gump's a little play on historical epics, but he can make the hell out of a good movie. And The Rock, if this is the route he's taking, this is a serious part. And that's what excites me. That's why I want to see this more than a Jungle Cruise, a Hobbs and Shaw, another, San Andreas 2, if that's still happening. So this is why I look at this. There's a reason why it was a bidding war. Get that going, because I would love to see him really stretch his acting muscles, do something really fantastic that's more grounded, that dare I say, Oscar?
Jesus.
I mean, my God, we could be thinking about that if he does it correctly and does it well, and he has the proper people holding him up for it.
Yeah, maybe there's statues involved at the end of this rainbow, but I think in the meantime, you're just looking at box office and you're looking at excitement through multiple generations. I'm excited about Robert Zemeckis, as is Mark Reilly. You get the Braveheart scriptwriter in there. You obviously have a huge star in The Rock, Rocha, but this is also not such a dissimilar character to who he voiced in Moana, which is an island legend in Maui, and then you have the first Hawaiian king, or at least it's a Hawaiian king that is of note. This is going to be some pretty powerful stuff, potentially.
Yeah, and I think as Reilly was talking, it occurred to me in my head, I'm like, this may be The Rock's greatest challenge as an actor in a movie. And because not just because the script might be incredible and it's an epic film and it's a biopic, but also because he has such personal ties to this, being the grandson of the great Maivia, who was who began the wrestling, who was part of the beginning of the wrestling of that whole tree that spawned Rocky Johnson and spawned The Rock. So he's got a very personal attachment. Look at his tattoos; those are all tribal tattoos. So he has a very strong connection to to his heritage and to his people, and he respects and loves his people. He talks about it all the time. It's to be in the presence of him when he talks about his heritage is really overwhelming at times, and so he, I think, is going to feel the pressure of trying to bring this legendary king to life and do it right and hit all the right notes. And we know The Rock is so involved with everything he does. And so this may be the ultimate level of involvement that he will have in a project like this. Every single thing he may have to be in charge of or have to look over to make sure it's all correct. And so I couldn't think of a better hands to put it in than The Rock and Robert Zemeckis and Randall Wallace. Great. I mean, like you said, Braveheart, fantastic stuff. Yeah. Don't forget Castaway. Didn't Zemeckis do Castaway?
Oh, yeah.
So that's on an island he made us care about a silent movie, in essence, for almost an hour and a half of that movie. And that's incredible.
The volleyball really carried the other half.
Sure. Give Winston his due, absolutely.
Yeah.
But this, to me, excites me on so many levels because it says The Rock wants to challenge himself, wants to push himself. And I get what you're saying, Mark, how much is too much. But you have to understand, The Rock comes from a pro wrestling background. Those guys are working 320 out of 352 days a year.
Yeah.
Hard work is not foreign to him. He's a guy who he's in multiple projects, got Ballers, got all these things he's in charge of, got all these game shows he's messing around in, got his apps. So to me, this is just standard from him. And we'll just have to deal with it. Why don't we just deal with the fact that he does multiple movies instead of us trying to tell him to stop?
Well, we'll deal with it, but again, we have to choose if we're going to spend $20 on The Rock each year, which of his 3 or 4 movies come out. And because I gave Reilly guff earlier, I need to check your math on something. You said wrestlers work hard 320 days out of 352 days.
356
There's actually 300. You keep going up. 365.
Oh, 65
is the answer we were looking for. Days in a year. But
listen,
in
also,
whatever world you live in where you're allowed to eat Cold Stone Creamery, I'll let you continue eating that ice cream if you can tell me the city where Cold Stone made their debut. It's a surprising city if you think about ice cream.
Wichita.
Or maybe, actually, now that I think about it, it's a very predictable city if you think about ice cream and the need for ice cream.
Oh.
Wichita. I have no idea.
Riley's he's riding that Wichita horse all the way to the
Did you not hear me?
No.
Wichita. Miami.
No, looking for Tempe, Arizona. Tempe, Arizona.
All right, fair enough.
Where Cold Stone Day, that's all I do. Is just no facts on this show. Remember when Mark Reilly used to be Facty McFacterson? Seems like 100 years ago.
Oh,
right.
God, that's
Collider
right.
Jedi
Shots
Council
fired.
is going to be live tomorrow, 10 a.m. in the PT, and then you're going to get Movie Talk, 4 p.m., and TV Talk has been reborn. I believe TV Talk is going to be, is it tomorrow? Is it the day? Is it Friday?
It's Friday, I
TV
believe,
Talk is coming up very soon.
Yeah.
Get excited for TV Talk. The host is very hairy, very sweaty, very energetic. His name is Josh McCougie. He's a good buddy of mine, so please support TV Talk when it comes back to Collider. Now it's time for your live Twitter questions, and we got a boatload of good ones here today. Some of them based on stories that we just reported on, such as this one.
Okay.
Amaru Moses says, what is a role recasting that you thought worked out better afterwards? And I think we can look at this as taking a role that was once played by somebody, then in the sequel, somebody else came in. So it doesn't have to be Alec Baldwin dropping out of the role of Thomas Wayne the Joker. It could be, like Amaru says, his is Michael Gambon as the new Dumbledore after Richard Harris passed away after the first 2 films, I believe. So in that vein, you can maybe take a Maggie Gyllenhaal stepping in for Katie Holmes, although I love Katie Holmes in Batman Begins. You could take who, Rocha?
I would say Don Cheadle taking over for Terrence Howard in Iron Man. I thought it was the right move.
As Rhodey?
Yeah, as Rhodey. If you take Terrence Howard is a powerful essence and energy. You see that at Empire and most of the films he's in, the one he was nominated for an Oscar for, the rap one that he was nominated, like that.
Hustle and Flow.
Hustle and Flow, sorry. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm gonna lose every Schmoedown from now on. But like Hustle and Flow, but you see this, and I think he would have gone head to head with Robert Downey Jr. for attention in the scripts constantly, whereas Cheadle doesn't need to do that. Cheadle is a powerful presence in a subtle way, and so he doesn't need to do any of that extra stuff. And I think that worked out better for what they wanted to do overall with the Iron Man story. So I really appreciated that casting, even though I was 100% on board with it. I really liked Rhodes in the first movie. I really liked Terrence Howard in the first movie. I think what they wanted to do with the character and the story, Don Cheadle was a good recasting.
Okay, Mark Reilly, you've been thinking about it a long time. Would you rather have had Tom Selleck as Indiana Jones?
Oh, God, no.
I think the mustache would have been even more iconic, gotta be honest with you.
It might have been. I'm going to use because I just watched The Dark Knight last night.
Oh.
Maggie Gyllenhaal is so much better, in my opinion, as Rachel Dawes in the next one, in The Dark Knight. I thought she was fantastic. It was such a great movie. The one that popped to my mind that is probably controversial because being Silence of the Lambs.
Oh.
Did anybody see Hannibal?
Yeah, you like Julianne Moore?
I don't like her better. But I do like her in the role.
As Clarice Starling, that's a tough shoes to fill. I don't think she did it nobly.
Oscar
in a movie
winner,
that's not as good as Silence of the Lambs.
No, it's not as good a movie. But when you're talking about an actress like Julianne Moore, I mean, Oscar winner herself, you can't say that she's not a good actress. It's different. It's a complete. I mean, Hannibal is a completely different feel than Silence of the Lambs because you had Ridley Scott stepping in. Demi walked off, didn't want to do it. Obviously, no more Jodie Foster, but. There's Anthony Hopkins. Their interplay at the end with Ray Liotta, especially when they're takes off the head and
the brains.
Hannibal has some dinner right there with Clarice. Julianne Moore was fantastic. I wouldn't say better, again, very subjective, but for somebody to step in those big shoes to fill, I thought she did an admirable job, and it was very, very fun to watch.
Very fair. I will not take the new Aunt Vivian because I thought they were both great on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, so I will take Mark Ruffalo stepping in for Edward Norton as the Incredible Hulk in the MCU that we know and love. Our next question is also one that based on a story that we just reported on, and that comes from Jonathan Peck, and he says, what are your top 5 favorite Robert Zemeckis films? Easy, Jonathan. Let's do our favorite Robert Zemeckis film, and if everybody takes the same one, as there's a chance they might, we'll go to your silver medalist. I'm obviously taking Back to the Future. It might be my favorite Earth-based movie of all time. It goes back and forth between that and Jaws. They're not quite Star Wars for me, but Back to the Future I think is the most fun cinematic experience you can possibly have. If I'm taking a number 2, I am going with Castaway because I love the idea of being on an island with a sports ball by myself for an extended period of time. That sounds like bliss. FedEx, hire me right now, Mark Reilly.
Wilson! Yeah, Back to the Future would be my pick. I'll just go off book here and say Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Good job.
A lot of people are taking that one in the chat room.
I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That is one of those movies that you can't believe it's happening in front of your eyes. I mean, I'll always remember watching that with my dad, who lost his mother effing mind when Donald Duck was piano dueling with Daffy Duck. Because Donald Duck and Daffy Duck, for some reason, my dad likes ducks. He loves those Looney Tunes and Disney respective characters. And so when they fought, my dad was on the floor laughing. And so I'll always remember that. And it's such a wonderful movie. So.
One of the better duck fights in recent memory. John Rocha, favorite Zemeckis film, if not Back to the Future, what else you take?
Forrest Gump. I thought Forrest Gump's a fantastic film. One Best Picture. Tom Hanks is incredible in that movie. Still moves me. I still have moments of complete and utter sadness in that movie when I watch it, and also incredible joy and fun. And you took a film that could have easily been a caricature or a joke, and you made it heartfelt and moving. And yes, I understand the criticisms of Jenny's character. I get that, of course. But overall, the story that they're trying, there are people saying, well, she did all the rebellious things and had all these terrible things happen to her. Therefore, you should just follow the line, be straight, and don't do anything rebellious. So I get why people got that from it.
I just didn't like that she might have had unprotected sex with Forrest. That's what.
I may not know what love is.
Yeah.
But I want to throw in my 1B, obviously, because you guys have already taken the Romancing the Stone. Romancing the Stone is so much fun. If you have never seen Romancing the Stone, go back in the 80s, see an unaltered young Michael Douglas in that film, not like he is in Ant-Man and the Wasp. See him in that film with a beautiful Kathleen Turner, and their chemistry and their back and forth. It is old school and so good. And Joan Wilder. You'll know what I'm talking about.
Do you know, I listened to this great podcast, the soundtrack show with David W. Collins. Didn't know this. Romancing the Stone greenlit Back to the Future.
Oh, wow.
Because nobody wanted to make Back to the Future.
That makes sense.
And everybody thought Romancing the Stone was going to bomb. And it then
so good.
Comes out and it's great.
Yeah.
And
I love Rocha being upset at Michael Douglas it's not his fault he aged.
No, I'm just saying.
You seem very upset that Michael Douglas is trying to fool people into thinking he's young again.
Well, 25 people could play Michael Douglas, so let's be fair here.
Listen, I'm a passionate man. I don't know what you want from me. I'm a passionate man. I believe in the things that I believe. I'm not angry. I'm just passionate.
Other answers we would have accepted would be Castaway.
Sure.
As I said, what lies beneath.
That's a good movie.
Great thriller.
Underappreciated.
Agreed.
Underrated.
Absolutely.
It's really good.
He also did the Polar Express, beloved holiday film. Beowulf. I think his version of A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey as Ebenezer Scrooge with the mixture of animation. That's a really good movie. And Flight
is so good.
I think about Flight when I'm on the road and I'm in a hotel room that has a mini bar, because I always think about that scene when Denzel, he's hanging on by a thread and he's got the bottle there and he walks away and you're like, yeah, Denzel. 2 seconds later, he comes back and swipes the bottle and oh boy, here we go. John Goodman, also a great performance in there. So Robert Zemeckis, looking forward to what you can do with The Rock in the movie The King, coming out. We don't know when. We hope Top Gun 2 comes out in 2020, and we know this for sure. Alec Baldwin is irreplaceable. I must have read that wrong. Thank you guys for tuning in to this edition of Collider Movie Talk. I want to thank Mark Reilly of the Reilly Roundtable, John Rocha, one of our lead dogs on Sports Time. I am merely Mark Ellis, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode of Collider Movie Talk. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.